The internet is a funny place. One day you're everyone's favorite, the golden child of Twitch, and the next, your own fans are spamming L's in your chat while Twitter turns you into the villain of the week. And that's exactly what happened recently with Kai. What started as a harmless idea for a friendly gaming tournament quickly spiraled into a chain reaction of bad optics, messy decisions, and a whole lot of angry viewers. It began with what should have been a simple collaboration. The plan was to set up a Clash Royale tournament, something fun and engaging that had been pitched and hyped up with the idea of bringing the community together. But instead of diving into the tournament and making it a big deal, Kai seemed completely uninterested. While the setup was happening, his energy just wasn't there. And then, in the middle of it all, he literally got up and switched to doing an IRL stream. Imagine watching two people get ready to play a game and then one just stands up mid-conversation and walks away to do something else. That's exactly how it looked, and you didn't need to be in chat to know it came across as disrespectful. The audience picked up on it instantly. Twitch chat has no mercy, and the second they saw him ditch, the flood of L's began. It wasn't just playful trolling either. They were calling him out for leaving his collaborator hanging, for acting like he couldn't be bothered, and for brushing off the effort someone else had put into this whole idea. Meanwhile, the other streamer was left confused and disappointed. After waiting around, trying to salvage the situation, he eventually just gave up and ended his stream. And honestly, who wouldn't? Nobody wants to be left looking like the backup plan in front of thousands of people. Kai noticed the backlash only once his own audience turned on him. And that's when the story really takes a turn. Instead of addressing it up front or making things right immediately, he tried to play it off like nothing major happened. But when your viewers are plastering L's all over your screen, you can't ignore it. He eventually circled back and said he'd still do the tournament, maybe on another stream, maybe later. But by then, the damage was already done. The whole situation reeked of an apology that only existed because people got mad. Not because he genuinely cared about how his actions affected someone else. The problem with being a massive streamer is that everything you do gets amplified. If you're careless, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you. And in this case, what looked like a small decision to switch gears midstream actually turned into a narrative about him being selfish, dismissive, and more worried about appearances than relationships. It painted him in a light he couldn't just laugh off, and the internet latched onto it. Now, if that had been the end of the story, maybe it would have blown over in a few days. But of course, the internet doesn't forget, and Kai's timing couldn't have been worse. Around the same time, MrBeast announced his latest massive charity project, Team Water. The idea was simple but powerful. Bring together thousands of creators to raise money for clean water projects in countries that desperately need it. The numbers were staggering. Millions already donated, hundreds of wells being built, and some of the biggest names on the internet all chipping in. Logan Paul, Aiden Ross, XQC, and countless others were dropping massive donations, some in the six figures. It was the kind of event where everyone wanted to be seen doing their part. But when people looked for Kai's name on the donation board, it was nowhere to be found. And that silence was loud. Here's a streamer who makes tens of thousands per stream, flexes his lifestyle, and has no problem showing off what he owns. Yet when it came time to give back, he was missing in action. That contrast didn't sit well with fans. It's one thing to flake on a game with a friend, but ignoring a global fundraiser that literally every other creator is talking about. That's when the criticism turned into outrage. It got even worse when Aiden Ross publicly said he'd match Kai's donation if Kai threw in $400,000. That's not just pocket change, but considering the level of income streamers like Kai pull in, it was a realistic ask. And it wasn't just about the money. It was about showing solidarity, stepping up, and proving that the community can use its wealth for something meaningful. The fact that Kai stayed quiet in that moment made it feel like he didn't care. Or worse, that he only cared when it made him look good. The internet hates hypocrisy more than anything. People will forgive mistakes if they feel real. But what they won't forgive is someone who acts self-serving in a situation that calls for generosity. And so, In the eyes of many, Kai went from being the entertaining, unpredictable guy who could do no wrong to being the streamer who abandoned his friend on stream and ghosted a massive charity project. It was the perfect storm for backlash, and the memes, tweets, and commentary videos piled on instantly. To be fair, it's possible he plans to donate privately, or maybe he wants to handle it differently. But in the age of public perception, intentions don't always matter. People can only judge you by what they see. And right now, what they see is someone who walked away from a collaborator and stayed silent when the rest of the internet was raising millions for clean water. That silence spoke louder than any excuse. What makes all of this even more ironic is that Kai has always thrived on being in the spotlight, on having the biggest moments, the craziest streams, the wildest stories. But when it came to doing something that wasn't about him, something that could have helped millions, he disappeared. And that's why this hit so hard with fans. It wasn't just about a missed tournament or a missed donation. It was about a pattern that made people question who he really is behind the entertainment. The truth is, being at the top means every move gets magnified. And if you're not careful, it only takes 1 or 2 missteps for the internet to flip on you. This might not be the end of Kai's career, he's too big for that, but it's a reminder that even the most popular creators aren't untouchable. When the internet feels like you don't care, they'll make sure you hear it. So, where does that leave us? Maybe Kai will explain himself. Maybe he'll write a check quietly. Maybe this will all blow over in a few weeks. But for now, people are left with the image of a streamer who bailed when it mattered most. And if history has taught us anything, it's that the internet never forgets. If you've made it this far, I want to know what you think. Was this just bad timing, or did Kai really drop the ball? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories the internet can't stop talking about.